The Fairy Queen, Nature's Protector. This is Titania, the Pixie Warframe. Titania controls her razorflies to bewilder enemies, buff allies, and strike with nature's fury. Titania's passive regenerates 4 HP per second to herself and allies for 30 seconds every time she casts an ability. Very useful for Tenno that enjoy utilizing a frame's abilities often. Spellbind creates a cloud of dust and razor-winged butterflies in an area, lifting enemies into the air and preventing them from acting for the duration. Lifted enemies are disarmed and ragdolled, making them vulnerable to melee finisher attacks. Titania and her allies will cleanse themselves of negative statuses when moving through the cloud. Holding the ability will cast Spellbind on Titania's location. Enemies that are disarmed cannot attack unless they pick up their weapons outside of melee. It's a very simple way to make small clusters of enemies have a harder time at dealing with Titania, or take them out of the fight temporarily. Tribute deals impact damage to enemies and reduces their damage for the duration, while knocking them down. Enemies struck will leave a floating replica of them in the air. Upon collecting this replica, Titania will be granted her chosen buff between 4 that she cycles with, tapping the ability. Thorns creates an aura that gives Titania and her allies 50% damage reduction and reflects 50% of damage taken to the attackers. Dust reduces enemy accuracy by 50%. Full Moon increases companion damage by 75% and their health and armor by 50%. And Entangle slows enemies by 25% within range. They're very simple buffs, but they work well for helping Titania's group. Titania can have all 4 active at the same time, enhancing its utility. Meaning that Titania can keep her and her allies at 50% of the damage dealt to themselves, while dealing 50% of that damage to enemies, reducing enemy accuracy, having their companions be stronger, while slowing enemies all at the same time. It's a very, very nice buffing and debuffing ability. Lantern lifts an enemy into the air, causing them to create a hypnotic glow. This glow attracts nearby enemies, taking heat damage each second they're in range. Upon deactivation, Lantern explodes the lifted enemy, causing a large blast of heat damage in the area. The Lantern's duration can be cancelled early by holding down the ability button. This reminds me a lot of the concept of what a will-o-wisp is. A glowing light leading an enemy to their doom. Shrinking down to the size of her razorflies, Razorwing bestows Titania with her exalted weapons. Yes, I said weapons, as in plural. Titania gains both an exalted arc gun and arc melee, both of which, as exalted weapons, are fully moddable. While in Razorwing, Titania moves at a faster pace, can fly with the same controls as an Arcwing, becomes harder to hit, is surrounded by 6 razorflies that attack nearby enemies, and becomes very small and able to fit in your pocket or a jar so you can make all those firefly lanterns. The razorflies that become active for the duration deal primarily slash damage and some impact and puncture damage. Additionally, her razorflies will have a higher threat level, and increase enemy damage vulnerability by 100%. Meaning enemies will be targeting the Razorflies more often than Titania, who is already harder to hit while in Razorwing. Razorflies can also be commanded to recover the replicas from tribute, and gives an additional Razorfly per active tribute to a limit. Companions become inactive, however, between her Razorflies and the addition of her inherent vacuum range while within Razorwing, this is a pretty fair trade-off. And being able to have them pick up tribute means that, again, her being hard to hit while in Razorwing, while enemies are primarily targeting her Razorflies, and commanding the Razorflies to grab a tribute that gives her 50% damage reduction, means she is incredibly hard to kill while in Razorwing. Titania is a frame I didn't really like or understand all too much before this, but I appreciate that much more and look forward to playing more often after this. At rank 30, Titania has 370 HP, 370 shields, 105 armor, and 225 energy. She has a Matter Eye Aura slot, along with 1 Matter Eye and 1 Vazarin polarity. Titania Prime has an additional 95 HP, 30 armor, 40 energy, and an additional Narabon and Matter Eye polarity. All of Titania's parts are awarded through the quest The Silver Grove, which is able to be done after completion of the quest The Second Dream, and reaching Mastery Rank 7. Now let's see her in action one last time. Most believe fairy tales to be myth, Tenno. Show them just how real you are.